If you want to understand the next phase of artificial intelligence, stop looking at the models. Look at the permissions, because the AI race is no longer just about who can build the smartest system. It's about who is allowed to build at all. In 2026, some of the most advanced chips in the world cannot legally be sold to entire regions. Certain data center expansions require government approval. AI systems used in finance, defense, or healthcare are increasingly regulated before they are deployed. The frontier isn't technical anymore, it's political, and that changes everything. For years, technology scaled through markets. If you had talent and capital, you could build. But AI is not like social media. It runs on specialized chips. It consumes enormous power. It influences national security, which means governments are no longer observers. They are participants. The United States has tightened export controls on advanced AI chips, limiting which countries can access high-end semiconductors. The European Union is implementing structured AI regulation under the AI Act, categorizing systems by risk level before they can operate. China continues investing heavily in domestic semiconductor production to reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. India is pushing billions into local fab incentives to avoid being locked out of compute capacity. The Middle East is funding sovereign AI data centers to secure independent digital infrastructure. These are not isolated events. They are signals. The AI race has moved from innovation to control. And control doesn't look like headlines. It looks like permits, licensing, compliance frameworks, export restrictions, security reviews. It looks slow, but it's decisive. Because when access to chips is restricted, entire ecosystems shift. When regulatory approval becomes mandatory, deployment slows. When governments define acceptable use, markets adjust. The power layer of AI is no longer just corporate, it's geopolitical. Here's what makes this moment different. In previous technology cycles, governments reacted after dominance was established. Social media scaled globally before serious regulation arrived. E-commerce platforms built massive infrastructure before governments intervened. AI is different. Governments are intervening during the scale phase, before the map is settled. That means the geography of AI may not be determined by innovation alone. It may be determined by alignment. Political alignment, regulatory alignment, strategic alignment. If your country can't access the most advanced chips, you build alternatives. If your companies depend on foreign cloud providers, you negotiate sovereign capacity. If your infrastructure isn't trusted, international deployment becomes harder. Permission becomes the new currency. This is why export controls matter more than product launches. Because no matter how advanced your model is, if you cannot train it on frontier hardware, you fall behind. No matter how strong your startup ecosystem is, if you lack chip access, your ceiling lowers. No matter how talented your engineers are, if the compute layer is restricted, growth slows. This isn't theory, it's already happening. Advanced semiconductor supply is increasingly concentrated. Governments are prioritizing domestic production. Defense contracts are reshaping who gets priority access. Enterprise AI deployments now pass regulatory filters before scaling. The invisible gatekeepers have multiplied. And this creates a new kind of global hierarchy, not intelligence hierarchy, access hierarchy. Some regions will operate on the frontier, others will operate one layer below. Not because of talent, but because of permission, because the infrastructure exists in certain places, because the capital flows through certain channels, because the export license was granted or denied. For companies, this changes strategy. AI firms must now think about jurisdiction before scale. Cloud partnerships are no longer just technical decisions. They are political ones. Data localization rules determine where intelligence can live. Regulatory approval timelines determine deployment speed, and chip allocation determines competitive advantage. The race isn't just about who builds the smartest model, it's about who can legally power it. There's a deeper implication here. If infrastructure anchors AI and capital finances it and governments regulate it, then artificial intelligence is no longer just a private sector competition. It's a strategic asset class, which means the future of AI will likely be slower than the hype suggests. More negotiated, more structured, more permissioned. The open frontier phase is ending. The managed frontier phase is beginning. This doesn't mean innovation stops. It means innovation consolidates. In countries with energy stability, in regions with semiconductor access, in ecosystems aligned with regulatory frameworks. The map narrows before it expands again. And that narrowing phase is where control solidifies. So, when people ask who will win the AI race, the better question might be, who decides who gets to compete? Because intelligence can be copied, capital can be raised, talent can migrate, but permission is granted. And once granted, it defines the field. In the next episode, we move beyond permission and into consequence. If AI infrastructure, capital, and regulation determine who builds, what happens to the companies and workers operating inside those boundaries? That's where the next layer begins.